station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Ask the Expert Show with local celebrity hosts Steve O and Rene. Sit back each week while Steve O and Rene educate you with live in-studio experts, such as lawyers, doctors, home improvement, and financial experts in their field. Call in and have your questions answered each week at 888-565-1470. Now, here is Steve O and Rene with today's expert in their field.
Good afternoon.
Good
This
afternoon.
is really kind of strange, isn't it?
A little bit.
We are back.
We are.
Wow, this is the Ask the Expert Show. We are live here in studio WWNN 1470.
It's nice to be back.
It is. It's wonderful. And we talk about all different types of subjects, from legal to health to financial to home improvement.
Everything.
Everything
We
you
run the
could
whole gamut.
possibly imagine. And we have got some exciting guests on the show today.
Yes, we do.
You know, we've never done a funeral show
Are you
before.
tongue-tied?
No,
Untie your tongue.
but we've never done a funeral show today, and there's so much information out there
Yes.
that people don't understand, whether it's pre-arrangement, pre-needs, planning a funeral. I mean, no one wants to do it, but listen, sometimes it happens, and we have to, and we got the best.
Yes,
I mean,
we do. So
have-
let's welcome in studio Jack and Gloria Weiss from Weiss Funeral Homes.
Did you almost say Jack and Jill?
I did not.
Good afternoon.
Good
Thank you for
afternoon,
having
Jack.
us. You made a mention about that. One person once said to me one time, "Yeah, it's really mysterious about funeral arrangements because I've never done it before." And that's one of the problems is, that people, unfortunately or fortunately, haven't gone through something like that. And that's why pre-arrangements and our type of funeral service are around.
Is that how you started?
How we started. In the beginning, as they say, I didn't know anything. I was just a child of my father. And what my father told me to do, I did. And it was in the funeral business. And he said, move here and move there. And that's how I got started. I really had no knowledge of anything. What has happened in this state and what has happened in the country is that the old line funeral homes, a lot of them are disappearing. When I grew up, everybody knew the Weiss family, and everybody knew that if something happened, they called Weiss, and there was no questions asked. When I came down to Florida, I had to reinvent this business.
So you actually grew up in New York, though?
Yes, I
Because I
grew up
detect an accent over there.
Yes,
That's your accent.
well,
It's
I
a
have
familiar accent. I got New Yorkers in the
Well,
house.
I have a Westchester County accent, but sometimes it gets confused with the Bronx.
Or Brooklyn.
Well,
Or Queens like myself.
Yeah, or Queens. Well,
Right.
no, Queens was upper class. Now,
Oh, it was?
yes, yeah, absolutely.
Did you hear that? I was upper class.
Upper class in Queens.
She reminds me every day. But, so why did you decide to come to Florida?
Well, Gloria and I got married about 37 years ago. As I was corrected, I figured 36. But
Mazel tov, that's a long time.
Thank you. And we decided to come to Florida for the weather and just to start over. I had sold my business to another firm up there, and I really wasn't happy with working for them. And then we came to Florida, and what we did was Gloria established a school for children, early childhood.
Oh, very nice.
And I went back into the funeral business. And as the years progressed, I was not quite happy with what was happening down here. Now, in some cases, maybe it's my fault because I thought I knew everything, or think I thought
like me.
everything. And I didn't like
I smack your head a lot. That's why.
and that's why I started, and I kept on telling to Gloria I was unhappy with the direction of what was happening in the business, and she said, well, then open up. And I said, you sure? Are you sure you're going to be able to take this type of thing that happens? Do you know whether you're going to do business? You know whether you're going to be successful? And thank goodness I listened to her, and
We know who
been in
wears the
business.
pants in the family, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yes. There's no question about that.
You're used to that, right, Steve?
Right. Well, we have a good division of authority. I say yes, dear, and just do what everything is.
Did you, wait a second, take notes. Did you
Yeah.
hear that?
Okay, I heard
I'm just saying,
that.
get your pen out.
Yeah, right.
I've been very fortunate. Everybody should be as lucky as I am to have somebody that's patient, that doesn't say why I can't go shopping or why I can't do this, that she worked with me with this business and setting this business up. She was just as active as I was, in fact, maybe even more with some of the organizations. The most important thing that has happened is that networking part, because, as I said, you have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
So how do you get people to know you? You go to different meetings, different functions for different groups, and they get to know you. And it's not an overnight thing. It
Of course
really
not.
takes time for people to trust you. And this business is based on trust.
Yeah, I would think so.
And compassion.
And caring,
Yes.
and professionalism, which I
Yes.
got to hear when I was at your chapel last
Thank you.
week, which we're going to talk about today. So tell us, what's the difference between a family-owned business and one of these big conglomerate funeral homes?
Well, basically, the conglomerates have come in and, as they expanded, have taken over some of the family businesses for a variety of reasons. There's nobody left to take over the company. The gentleman that's running it really wants to make a profit and sell it at the time that the company is doing well, and then they come in, and it's nothing wrong with a conglomerate taking over the business. I would never say anything bad about anything, but the point is that if somebody comes to me or any family-owned business, you make a decision. You're a decision maker. When you're in the conglomerate, they set up the guidelines, they set up the profit and losses, they set everything up what somebody can do, and there's always somebody over the shoulder watching them that they can't make a decision. If somebody
Sounds very cold.
Right, so if you're a family-owned business, you make your own decisions.
I make my own decision. Good, bad, or indifferent,
exactly.
I make my
You make your
different.
own mistakes, too.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, nothing's perfect.
Right.
You're dealing with people that have had a loss or are thinking about creating. They call me on the phone and they say, "Jack, my mother is ill. What can I do?" So we talk about it, because nobody should wait until the last minute
Right.
and come in. Because, again, to get to the beginning, it's not like it was in the old days where you made a phone call and the guy took care of your father and grandfather and great-grandfather. There was a relationship there. There's nothing here. So you have to do it over and over again. And then all of a sudden, after 20 years of business down here, people are calling me up and said, "Mrs. Jones said I should call you, that you took care of her family," things like that.
I know what I'm going to do when my fish passes away. I'm calling Jack, okay? Doesn't matter what time it is.
Is it big enough to cook?
Listen, your fish is already gone.
Oh, I thought he was doing the backstroke.
Did you hear the toilet this morning? The fish is gone.
Okay.
Forget about Jack.
Okay. So now, a lot of people don't know the difference, between, you have funeral services, but you do cremation also.
Yes.
So tell people, listen, there's people who've never had cremation, but it's been willed that they want their body cremated.
The cremation is just another form of a funeral service. But essentially, instead of going to a cemetery, although you can, you're having a cremation, which can be in 3 different processes. You can have what they call a direct cremation, meaning that there's no service and no remembrance. It's rather cold.
That is cold.
But that's what some people want to do. And in many cases, this is based on a financial need. And my job
Because
is
it's
a
less
service
expensive to do the cremation?
Yeah, and my object is the service of family. I'm not here to tell somebody what to do. I'm here to let them tell me what they want to do and then guide them on that. And then there's what they call a memorial service, where the people have some type of funeral service, whether it's at the chapel or a church or a temple, and but the casket of the deceased is not there. And the third one is a traditional service, where instead of going to the cemetery, you go to the crematory. So that in many cases where people have a certain background, but they have been told that they want a cremation, but they still want to remember the person and they want to maybe take a look at them, that's the type of service. So a cremation could run anywhere from $700-800 to thousands of dollars.
Jack, they have some incredible rates, which we've talked about. What is a normal rate for cremation versus how much you normally charge for cremation?
All right, a normal rate, depending on, of course, the funeral chapel, is roughly around $2,000, maybe even a couple dollars less, a couple of dollars more. My end of it, including the cremation and everything, is just a little bit under $1,000. It's about $895, $945.
How do you do it for so much less?
Well, number one, I cut my cost. I'm not sitting in an 8,000 square foot building where I have a tremendous overhead. I'm able to keep my
Maserati? I saw the Maserati.
You saw the Maserati.
Was that his?
Yeah. Well, I had a choice of buying a house in a Maserati, and
I
being
take the
Hungarian,
Maserati.
I took the Maserati.
Yes, I agree.
So with some firms, you have to be extremely careful out there, because you get what you pay for sometimes. And if somebody charges X amount of dollars, and then all of a sudden somebody says, I can do it for half that figure or less, there's got to be something wrong. When I give a price, it's everything. I don't wait until the death occurs and then the family get in there and they say, okay, here's your $400, $500, and you say, oh, well, how long do you want to take for your death certificates? If you want to get your death certificates within a week, it's extra amount of money.
Or to pay for additional death
You pay for
certificates.
additional,
Yes.
you pay for additional services, which they never quote on the telephone. These are not the traditional funeral homes that charge these 2,000 charges. They are completely above board and everything. It's only some of these firms that don't even have a building. They're called a storefront. They have no responsibility or anything like that. We have to be careful on that type of situation. But again, a family comes to me, my prices are fair, and I give them affordable service with the same type of service that they would get from some of the major funeral homes. Just
Why don't
lesser
we talk
cost.
about pre-planning, because that's really important as well.
Before we get into that, now let's give people the phone number here.
To call in with
it's
questions.
888-565-1470. If you've got a question for Jack about prearrangement, cremation, give us a call. This is the time to do it. I mean, this
Or if you just want to say hi.
and plus,
Right?
Yeah, and plus, Jack and Gloria are going to be on next month. This is going to be a monthly show that we're going to do. So we're going to go to commercial, and when we get back, let's talk about prearrangement.
Perfect.
Weiss Memorial Chapel has been serving Palm Beach County for more than 40 years. Weiss Memorial Chapel combines a kind, caring atmosphere with the finest service and experience. Weiss Memorial Funeral Home is located in Boynton Beach, Florida, and is independently owned and operated. They are dedicated to serving all of their families and honoring their needs. They are a full-service, independently owned funeral chapel. Weiss Memorial Chapel's concept is to have one low price for everyone, and to have one low price for at-need and pre-need funerals. They are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to answer your questions with knowledge and caring. They are committed to providing funeral and cremation services with the highest level of care, compassion, and professionalism to the Palm Beach area. They are proud to offer chapel services in their beautiful 150-occupy setting in Boynton Beach, or provide services at any cemetery. Weiss Memorial Chapel, located at 202 East Boynton Beach Boulevard in Boynton Beach. Why pay more when the finest in service will cost you less? Call them at 561-737-0001. That's 561-737-0001.
And we're back. You know what? You can actually watch the show live by just going to www.wwnn.
You don't need all those W's. Leave them off.
.com. You can watch us live, and next month you'll be able to watch our show live on the Weiss's homepage.
Yes.
So cool.
Okay, so let's talk about pre-planning, because I think that's really important, because unfortunately when you lose somebody, everybody loses somebody, and I just lost my mother a few years ago, and everything was prearranged, which was such a big headache off of me and my family. So let's talk about that, how important that is.
Okay, well, basically, what you mentioned is very important. Just to go by your background, by your having to walk into a funeral home or call them on the phone, and other than maybe some cost that may have increased over the years or for death certificate, everything's taken care of. I think the most emotional experience that a family has to go through is when they walk into a funeral home and the funeral director says to them, let's go take a look at a casket.
Yes. And I didn't have to do that. Thank
you didn't
God.
have to do that. And that is very important. A family should not feel that they're under pressure. They should not feel that they have to make a 5-minute decision that they may regret forever. My father used to call it the would'ves, the could'ves, and the should'ves. What happens is that in your life, you made some mistakes, and you can turn back and say, I should have done that, I should have married him, or I should have bought this car. This is one of the few times that you can do anything you want as long as it doesn't hurt somebody emotionally. You can do anything. If you say to the funeral director, I want to have nobody come to the funeral except for the immediate family, it can be done. And it doesn't really matter what somebody else's say.
So I could uninvite people.
Yes,
If
I was thinking my ex-wife.
Listen,
Right.
if I pre-plan, I could uninvite people.
Yes.
So if somebody gets on my nerves, I don't have to
Right,
invite
you
them.
don't want
So
them
even
there.
if we're not here, we still have
Listen, you
control.
better be nice to me, Steve-O. I may
Okay.
invite you.
I'll be mad at you. I won't
Do you have your
talk to you.
checkbook, by the way?
I won't talk to you.
I'm going to pre-plan right now.
So what happens when somebody comes in and pre-plans, I'm one of the few funeral homes that whatever price I give you for a pre-arrangement is what the price of the funeral will be. I don't have a system where I want to threaten people that if you don't sign for a pre-arrangement, it's going to cost you $2,000 more, $1,000 more.
Now, do you have to pay that all up front?
No, you can pay, depending on the type of service, you can have anywhere from 1 year to 5 years, and if a family really has a financial problem, they can take longer to pay. One of the advantages of a pre-arrangement under the laws of the state of Florida is that I don't have control of the money. You pay me whether it's $1,000, $5,000, or $10,000. It sits in a trust fund administrated by the state of Florida. Until that person passes, that money's there.
And what happens if all the money is not collected before they pass away?
Then the family has to pay whatever is due, but not at an increased price. So, which happens sometimes. Somebody pays for 3-4 years and then they get ill, so they only owe that balance. Secondly or thirdly, you do not have, if you forget, you go on vacation, you're supposed to make a payment. It's not null and void. There's no interest on this.
Oh, that's good.
So it basically, what happens is if a family goes away on vacation and you're thinking about going on vacation and you forgot to make a payment, it's fine. All that happens is that the time something happens, that balance has to be paid.
Right.
And there's no penalties or anything on
So
it.
I'm curious.
Otherwise, they don't get buried, okay?
Exactly.
So you
You
got to
stay
pay.
over there.
So, and the other part is, like you said, when you had with your mother, you know what the decision is. You know exactly what's going to happen.
I know it's funny because she wanted to discuss all, her arrangements that she made, but I didn't want to discuss it because most family members don't want to discuss
No, they
that.
want, especially children really don't want anything to happen to their parents.
Right.
So and again, a lot of people have said to me, I can't talk to my daughter, I can't talk to my son. They don't want to hear anything.
Exactly.
And what we do? We do the pre-arrangement. I give them a copy of everything, and they send it to them so they know. But the biggest mistake some people do is they're secretive. So they go to their children, never tell them that what they did. They say, call Weiss. Now, something happens and they're emotional or away on vacation, they could call another funeral home and end up having to have some extra money that they have to pay
Right.
out. So knowledge is very important.
Absolutely.
People really should know what to do.
And you're available 24/7.
Yes, I'm available. That's why kids don't go into this business anymore. 24/7. Yes.
When I was over there the other day, there was a family over there. So I was watching. I mean, I haven't been through this, though I've lost both my parents. One of my brothers did all the planning. And what was amazing, one of your directors, the compassion, I was like just blown away because, and I know you have to be, but actually seeing it for myself, your director was just unbelievable. It actually, I could tell that it brought the family to ease when I was over there. You could just see the demeanor they had when they came in versus sitting down and listening to him.
It's a tough business. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah, it is. It is a tough
I mean, you
business.
deal with sadness all the time.
You deal with sadness, you deal with hostility, you deal with people being aggravated over the person passing, also being aggravated that the person didn't do certain things in their life. A lot of these emotions come out. You have to have some psychology, some background in order to deal with people. That's why sometimes it's harder for a younger person to be in this business because they don't have the experience.
Yeah, because I'm upset today because LeBron's gone. I mean, it's almost like him
What
dying.
does that have to do with the Weiss funeral, huh? The heat went under?
We should all
We're
have
burying
the
them.
amount of money that he's
I know.
That's
burning.
right, you're right.
I hope he's pre-planned. He's got a big enough family now. You also do veterans, too.
Yes. I happen to be a veteran, no big deal, but I feel that they deserve something a little better. So any funerals for the veterans are a full-service funeral, including a hearse. Some firms don't use a hearse for burial at the VA cemetery. Veterans have a great arrangement.
So who pays for that? The state?
The country pays for everything regarding the burial at the Veterans Cemetery. They still have to pay for the funeral, but they do not have to pay for the grave bowlining, the liner, any of these items. It's probably a $10,000 to $20,000 saving for a veteran.
That's big, yeah.
It is really a great
And
thing
well
for them.
deserved.
And well deserved. We have a great veterans population. Florida probably has one of the largest. The South Florida Veterans National Cemetery is maintained. Your tax dollars at work, as I say, and it's very well maintained. And they're very gracious and helpful over there. I always give a discount to a veteran. They're
Good
entailed
man.
to it.
Yes.
My
Thank you for your
prices are
service.
affordable as they begin with, but they do get a discount. There is one other thing that people should be aware of. You started to mention about the state paying for anything. There is, if a veteran passes away at the Veterans Home or the Veterans Administration, they're entitled to get certain extra money from the government to pay for, like the removal and the hearse to the cemetery. Some veterans, because of their service, are able to be buried at Arlington National Cemetery. You have to have a certain type of background.
That's in Washington, though.
In Washington. And there are
And
some
who
veterans.
covers the shipping expense?
The shipping expense is covered by the family, except if they pass away, as I said, on those bases.
Because I know you also do shipping.
Yes, we do, and we also do transfer up north for burial. I have
all the New York people down
Yes,
here.
that's
yeah,
what I mean.
I have contacts throughout the United States. In some cases, I can save them some dollars rather than dealing with some of the established funeral homes that are up there. In other cases, I make sure that things are done properly.
Jack, tell everybody where you're located. Give everybody your
Thank
address.
you. My address is 202 East Boynton Beach Boulevard, which is probably a three-quarters of a mile east of 95 and Boynton Beach Boulevard. And we've been there roughly 15 years now.
So you've been there quite some time. Give everybody your phone number.
The phone number is 561-737-0001. That's 561-737-0001. I missed out. I couldn't get all the zeros in there.
Okay, I have to ask, 'cause I'm curious. What do caskets run?
Caskets will run anywhere from $995 to thousands,
Okay,
depending
so
on what the family.
Renee-
No, because listen, I need a fancy
No,
casket.
she wants a Gucci one. So
Yes.
would that be more than $995?
Or Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton.
Do you
right.
have any of those, LVs?
Louis Vuitton. There's a story one time where a family came to me and they came in to select a pre-need, and the two ladies came in and they were dressed marvelously. You knew it was Chanel, and you knew that what they had a Louis Vuitton bag, and she comes in and jewelry like you can't believe, and she comes in and she says, "I want the plain pine casket." And her girlfriend
Spent too much money on a purse?
And her girlfriend says to her, and I don't remember her name, of course, nor would I say it, all your life you never bought discount, and now you're going to buy discount?
Right.
So she went over and bought a better casket on that. So each person is different.
Why are you talking about caskets for me?
I'm just saying.
Don't
I
get
know-
crazy over that. That's all
I know
I'm saying.
what kind of casket you would want.
Okay,
we're
we don't
talking
need to
about
discuss
prices.
that.
Okay.
Okay, we're talking about your funeral, not mine today.
Mine's first.
You're much older than me, so don't get crazy.
When we were talking to funeral homes, putting the show together, and when the Weisses called, I went, did you remember? I went, yes, because I've heard of
Yes, very good things about your
And
funeral
I've
home.
only been down here for 10 years, and I've heard of Weiss. So you've made a very big name for yourself.
And I don't even know what happened. I guess if you do things right, subliminally, the word of mouth travels. My father once said that bad news travels faster than good news. And I guess the good news caught up with the bad news because, thank God, I never had any bad
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
You don't want to give any kind of horrors.
Again with
They
the
know what-
Portuguese. Again speaking Portuguese. Okay. This has been really incredible having you on here today.
Thank you.
We have got the best chapel, Memorial Chapel. Now, you just do Palm Beach, or do you do Broward also?
We will go any place. The only situation is sometimes if somebody wants a chapel service down in Dade, or we have some affiliates that we can rent, like a temple or a church for a service. But basically, the services are up here in Boynton Beach.
Okay.
The majority of families, if you look at what's happened in the industry, the majority of families have not that many relatives left. So a lot of times it's a graveside service. They have
Right.
a graveside service, or in some cemeteries they have like a chapel service there. Sometimes there's no charge for it. Sometimes there is a charge. Families are very realistic. I've never come across a family that has been forced to do something they don't want to do. And that's one of the things that most people have to understand, regardless of what it says in the newspaper. I have never met anybody that has said that they were forced to go into what they didn't want, to
Right.
do what they didn't
Okay,
want.
Jack, we're going to be going off the air, so give everybody your phone number once again in case they have to make arrangements.
Thank you.
Preplan.
5-6, or they can call me and
Yes,
ask
anytime he's
information.
available 24/7.
561-737-0001. That's 561-737-0001.
Well, it's been really great having you on. I can't wait again till next month. We're going to go to break. We have attorney Gil Ballou
From Ballou and Ballou.
Law Firm on next. We're going to talk about
Foreclosure
foreclosures.
defense, yes.
So from funerals to foreclosures. Thanks for listening. So we will be right back.
This is almost the same thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Weiss Memorial Chapel has been serving Palm Beach County for more than 40 years. Weiss Memorial Chapel combines a kind, caring atmosphere with the finest service and experience. Weiss Memorial Funeral Home is located in Boynton Beach, Florida, and is independently owned and operated. They are dedicated to serving all of their families and honoring their needs. They are a full-service, independently owned funeral chapel. Weiss Memorial Chapel's concept is to have one low price for everyone, and to have one low price for at-need and pre-need funerals. They are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to answer your questions with knowledge and caring. They are committed to providing funeral and cremation services with the highest level of care, compassion, and professionalism to the Palm Beach area. They are proud to offer chapel services in their beautiful 150-occupy setting in Boynton Beach, or provide services at any cemetery. Weiss Memorial Chapel, located at 202 East Boynton Beach Boulevard in Boynton Beach. Why pay more when the finest in service will cost you less? Call them at 561-737-0001. That's 561-737-0001.